Welcome to the Trader Games Podcast, Episode 1, What We Do. I'm your host, Wedow, the Efficiency Trader. Hey, make sure you subscribe on YouTube or efficiencytrader.com to watch the screen share replay. I'm going to be sharing some content, and I want to make sure you're able to see it if you're on your favorite podcast app. There's definitely some things I'll be sharing on the screen as we get going, so I want to make sure you don't miss out on that. Just a quick tip, if you're looking to start a podcast, I personally use Anchor.fm. It's the easiest way to start a podcast. You just sign up and it actually posts everything to the major platforms out there. So before we get going, I want to talk to you a little bit about who I am and my history, give you some credibility of why would you listen to this podcast, and then we'll kind of dive into what we do and why we do it, and then also give you guys some good content for trading in the stock market. We're going to actually look at a live option here. So I want to make sure you guys have a little bit of background and context before we get going. So for me, my trading history, I've been trading for the last 6-7 years. I've got a passion when it comes to making money. That's really how I got started was, obviously everybody has bills. Warren Buffett says, you're never going to retire until you learn how to make money in your sleep. So that quote really stayed with me and kind of motivated me to find ways to make money while I sleep. While the stock market, it might not be going while I'm sleeping unless I'm taking a nap during the day, but the stock market is one of those things, if you put in, say, 4 hours of trading, you're researching, educating yourself, you put in a trade, and then it automatically executes when you set your levels to enter and exit that trade. I can be working full-time job somewhere else or working on a business, whatever that looks like. It's basically paying me for my efforts even when I'm not physically at the computer or on my phone making trades. So being able to realize the potential, just sparked a passion in me. I wanted to be able to make money, and, growing up, it wasn't always about money. I was the youngest in my family. I have an older brother, and we were so competitive growing up. I've got a competitive nature. I was about 5 years old when I started playing baseball, and I looked up to my brother and wanted to be not just as good as him. Okay, he's a couple of years older, so that means I'm going to have to be a couple of years better than my age, but, I wanted to be not just as good as him, but better than him. And so I've kind of taken that mindset to anything that I do. It's not always a competition against other people. What I've learned is, if I can compete against myself and make myself better than yesterday, that's what life's about. It's growing and using the competitive nature to do something constructive. So really how I got started into trading, I've got a baseball background. I grew up playing baseball, played college ball, and then realized, hey, I'm not good enough to play professionally. So I need to figure out my life, what's going to pay the bills. So, I dabbled in a couple different jobs, but really I would say that I'm a coach at heart. I coach baseball. I've coached at the semi-pro level, high school, college, you name it. I've done it. But really for me, coaching doesn't pay the bills. So kind of jumping into, why would I get started into trading? Making money obviously is going to help pay the bills, but I learned that it's kind of fun. But kind of the moment, I've realized from Warren Buffett's quote, being able to make money while I sleep is kind of the only way that I'm going to retire at a reasonable age. I don't want to be super old and not able to physically experience, traveling the world, going skiing, snowboarding, kayaking. Those are things I love to do. I don't want to wait until I'm 65 to do that. So, I've started doing some research. How can I make money while I sleep? Robert Kiyosaki, he's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He really inspired me with his book. He kind of talked about the two different paths you can take in life. The way of his rich dad who, was an investor, who was a business owner, and was just very thinking outside of the box for ways to make money while he slept. So that stuck with me versus Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The poor dad in the scenario in this book is, his traditional father, go to school, get an education, work, and then retire at 65, have those secure benefits. For me, I fall somewhere in between. I have a day job, I've got a couple businesses I'm running, and then, this project with Efficiency Trader. We'll talk a little bit more about everything we do, but I started reading this Rich Dad Poor Dad book and got inspired, and I was just, caught a fire for, hey, this is my future. I can retire when I'm 65, or I can do something to actually speed up that process. So I ended up going to a Rich Dad Poor Dad conference. It was an educational conference. The main focus was on real estate, but one of the things that they did is they brought in a couple different speakers, and some of those speakers talked about stock trading. They used the example of one of the trainers there. He showed us his portfolio of, hey, he got in on Netflix when it was a pretty young company, and then, made a lot of money. And all he had to do was, obviously get educated, research the market, and then all he did was execute the trade. He clicked buy at a certain time, and then he just put in, whatever price he wanted to sell at. It was a couple months down the road when Netflix exploded, and he got rich because of it. And obviously that's incentivizing, but the reality of that is, I want to be able to do something that's going to be consistent. I mean, everybody hears about, getting rich overnight. Well, that was never my goal. I just wanted to pay my bills. And then I learned after that conference, hey, there's money to be made in the stock market. You might not get rich overnight. It's a thing that takes time. It's one of those things that's going to take a lot of discipline. It's going to take hard work, just like anything that I've done growing up. Playing college baseball, I was never the biggest, strongest, or fastest, but one of the things that set me apart was my work ethic. I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without that work ethic. So if you're listening to this podcast and, you're trying to get rich, that's not what this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be about, defining your goals. It's going to give you education to achieve those goals and some motivation and support. It's a journey. If the average return on an investment in the stock market is 7 or 8%, that's $100 you put in, you're getting, a very minuscule amount back. So if we're talking $7 back in a year, most people are gonna be like, yeah, that sucks, that's stupid. I can find $7 on the street collecting coins and pennies. There's other ways to do it. But being able to have a game plan and a process is what really kept me in the trading market in stocks. I've traded cryptocurrency, I've traded foreign currency, and just kind of my history is, I've learned a lot because I've made mistakes. I've lost a lot of money in the stock market. I've lost a lot of money in, any market out there. But the other thing is I've applied a lot of these mistakes and learn from these mistakes. So I want to share with you, whether this is the first time you've ever thought about trading the stock market, or maybe you've traded the market for years and you're making a lot of money, but you want to learn how to make more money. Whatever it is, I think anybody out there, and this is just my view on life, everybody out there has something that they can teach us and we can learn from them. But also the flip side of that is we also have the ability to teach anybody something if they're open and willing. So if you're open and willing, I want to share some of my mistakes as this podcast goes on. I want to share, some of my successes, but honestly, it's those failures that, I failed forward. I was able to see, oh man, I made an emotional trade here, or, I just didn't know what I was doing and lost a lot of money because of it. So, my ego is, kind of bruised anytime I talk about that, but it's one of those things. If I'm going to get better as a trader, if you want to get into trading or become a better trader, I'm going to share some of these mistakes that I've made just so you can fast forward your success, because, not everybody has to go and touch a hot stove to know that it's hot. My mom told me, hey, Wade, don't touch the stove, it's hot, you're going to get burned. Inevitably, I touched the stove at some point. But guess what? I learned from that mistake, and I'm here to tell you guys, hey, the stock market is a hot stove. It can burn you. Here's some things not to do, but I'm also able to provide some information and knowledge just based on some of the books I've read, some of the experiences I've had, and, I'm a student. When it comes to it, I can only be as good as my training, so I want to train myself to the highest degree so I can help train others to get into the stock market and start making money. I mean, that's the end goal for a lot of people. Whatever your reason is, we'll talk about it here in a minute, but everybody has a reason for why they're listening to this podcast, why they're interested in trading, and what the market has to offer to them. So kind of talked about, I've been in education after I coached baseball, didn't pay the bills. I had to, get into something that had, that stable salary. Going back to Rich Dad Poor Dad, I had to have that, poor dad mentality just to get by until I could learn how to break out of that mindset. So I got into the education world. Gonna kind of share that with you as this podcast progresses, and just share kind of that experience of, there's a lot to be said about the traditional education system. We'll kind of talk about that here in a minute, but being able to see the ins and outs of working in higher education for the last 8 years, I've got some insights that, if you're looking just to get a degree, that's going to definitely help you with your goals. But also, if your goals are similar to mine, where you want to maybe travel or you want to buy a house, and your job, your 9-to-5 job, is not making you enough money, stock trading, getting into the investing world might help sustain your future as far as having investments, money that's being made while you sleep, just to add on to that income. So one of the disclaimers I want to share with you guys is, this podcast, anything we do, we're not here to give any trading advice. Ultimately, what you do with your money is totally up to you. Not a licensed professional in the sense that I'm not FINRA certified. I'm not going through all these trainings to be an advisor. That's what some advisors out there for. I just want to give you the tools. I want to educate you and train you with just the basics. If you don't want to be hands-on with your money, there's people out there that will do it for you. If you want to be hands-on with your money, get educated, and then you're solely responsible for your successes and your failures. And I'm going to hopefully share some of my failures so you can kind of speed up that process and really just maximize your strengths and eliminate those weaknesses. So with that said, we're here for education. Our Facebook group, The Trader Games, our podcast is The Trader Games. I think of it as, the Hunger Games, may the best survive out here. It's one of those things that the stock market, it is a game. We're trading, but people call it playing the market for a reason. You're playing the market because there's a winner and a loser every time. So being able to realize there's money to be lost when other people are making money. There's money to be made when other people are losing money. So we kind of chat about that. We share some resources. It's pretty interactive on our Facebook page, The Trader Games. We like to keep it fun. This can be a very stressful thing anytime we're talking about money. So, one of the things that we educate is, never using money that you can't afford to lose. Don't go out and wager your house on one trade. Even if it's a guaranteed trade, there's still a 1% chance that you could fail and lose it all. So going in with a game plan, we'll talk about that as our trainings go. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick background. Where I'm from, how I got into trading, and kind of just a couple quick tips before we get going. But we're here. It's a safe place for anybody. If you're an expert trader and you've made $1 million, great. Let's get you to the next goal. If that's 2 million, 1 billion, whatever. But if you're like me at one point, I had to start from nowhere. I've never bought a stock in my life. I didn't know how that worked. So I'm here to educate you. If you're, any of those levels, maybe somewhere in between, but you just want to get better and obviously make money doing it, that's what we're here for. So let's talk about efficiencytrader.com. Efficiencytrader.com is our website. So what we have on there, it's free education. I want to support anybody out there that is going to be willing to put in the work and be successful. The reason for that is, a lot of people just get on YouTube and watch videos and then never apply them. One of the things I want is, if you're going to invest the time into listening to podcasts, into watching videos, what's the point if you never apply it? So I want to make sure that, the education out here, it's free for a reason, because, anybody can go and watch this, but not everybody can apply this knowledge. So watching these videos, listening to these podcasts, this is what's going to set you apart, is not just, taking in information. Everybody says knowledge is power. I say that's BS. I think application of knowledge is power. So it's what you're going to do with this free information is what's really going to get you to the next level and help you, set and achieve your goals. So some of the things that we educate for free on our website, efficiencytrader.com, we're going to talk about stocks. We're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about all the various indicators, technical analysis, the fundamentals, if you're looking into options, option trading, foreign currency, cryptocurrency, there's a lot to be said. I've got a degree in exercise science and a minor in sports psychology. Being able to see how just different stressors affect society. I've applied this to the baseball world, coaching baseball, but then you get to see it in the trading world as well. Anytime people have, they're motivated by fear and greed. That's the two things that you can see. If you can capitalize on, your opponent's emotions on the baseball field, why can't you do that trading? Again, this is a game. There's winners and losers. I want to start training people to be at the top of their mental game with trading psychology. So those are some video series that we'll be doing. We're going to talk about that on podcasts, but having your mind right and ready to trade before you ever trade. We do a lot with tracking our previous trades. I'll show you how and what factors to be tracking, because whatever we measure grows. If you're having a bunch of losing trades, maybe it's bad luck, but maybe it's a lack of a game plan, or maybe it's, slight tweaks in the game plan. So I want to educate you on efficiencytrader.com how to track your trades. We also cover game plans and goals. A target that isn't defined, you're going to miss every time. So being able to have those goals set up. We'll talk about accountability. The reason most people never actually accomplish what they set out to do. Look at New Year's resolutions. That's a perfect example. Not everybody achieves those. Actually, 92% of people never actually achieve their New Year's resolutions. The reason for that is because they don't have the accountability. They don't have the plan and structure in place to make sure that their goals get achieved. So we'll talk about that on some of our free education at efficiencytrader.com. I've also looked at other ways to make money. So Blackjack 21, it's not just counting cards. There's systems out there. I've got videos on efficiencytrader.com that's going to just show you how to make money, whether it's in the stock market, if you're at the casino, which there's big disclaimers about that. Don't gamble away any money that you can't afford to lose. It's the same concept for trading, but there's some scientifically proven methods out there that can make you money in the blackjack game. So we've got some video training series on that, all for free. And then if you guys are familiar with Black Swan investing. So this is a fun term. Google it, watch videos from efficiencytrader.com, but basically a black swan is, years ago, everybody always saw white swans, ducks on a pond, a swan out there, only white ones. So it wasn't until, hundreds of years later of documented history that somebody saw the very first black swan. So it was like a mind-blowing event, like nobody's ever seen this before. So Black Swan investing takes that concept and says, hey, there's things out there that the world's never seen before in the stock market. You can make a lot of money on these if you can identify and capitalize on black swan events. So we've got some training on efficiencytrader.com on black swan events. And then, one of my favorite authors is Nassim Nicholas Taleb. So he wrote the book Anti-Fragile. Basically, it talks about eliminating our weaknesses to grow. If you shake a box full of light bulbs, those light bulbs are going to break. They're fragile, fragile. So we want to be able to not be fragile. Being tough's fine. You have a box of rocks, you shake the rocks are fine, right? But the concept of being anti-fragile is you shake the box and whatever's in there grows. Think of a plant. If you prune a plant, it grows. So we need to have the mindset and investment strategy where, when stuff hits the fan, our portfolio is going to grow. So we'll talk about that. Again, we'll talk about the very basics of how to buy a stock. What is a stock? And the different strategies out there. Supply and demand is what the economy works on. That's what the trading markets work on, whether that's cryptocurrency, Forex, whatever it is. There's videos. Check out efficiencytrader.com. These are some of the free topics we cover. And then for me, I'm a coach at heart. We also offer coaching as far as one-on-one support. My goal as a coach when it comes to the trading world, I want to give you confidence. I want to give you the education and the support that you need. So if we're going back to those New Year's resolutions and they never happen, this is the factor that 92% of people don't have. They don't have a coach that's able to provide them accountability. They don't have a coach that's there to help develop them in their mindset, to make them mentally tough. My coaching is going to be tailored to your goals. Everybody's different. So watching a YouTube video, that's usually like a general statement. But what about for you? Do you have a family? Do you have, circumstances or goals that's different than your friends or your neighbors? Of course, there's going to be similarities, but being able to tailor this training specifically for you, that's one of the things that I also offer at efficiencytrader.com. We also have a members-only site. And this is where we get into some of the things that, this is the private stock. This is premium content that, we know that there's a certain type of person out there that's going to be successful in trading. And once we find that and help maximize their gifts and their work ethic, we're always looking for people that, they might not have confidence, but they want to get confidence. They might not feel supported, but they want to get supported. They might not have an accountability system, but they want to get there. So we have concept mastery classes. We've got products such as AutoTraders. So this is going to be literally you sign up for an account and you're going to be having trades made for you. You don't have to touch the account. You don't have to be an expert, but we're going to have our expert advisors going in there and copying their trades straight to your account, and you're going to be able to track that as well as while you're learning. This is a chance to make money while you learn. This is our members only section. We're going to have different discounts on premium trading software, trade alerts. We're going to give you guys some insights of what we're doing as a company. What are we investing in? When are we investing? Why are we investing? So getting the more in-depth stuff, this members only section, it's for somebody that has a big why. Why am I getting in this investment world? Why am I stock trading? We want to make sure that anybody that signs up for our members only content, they're accountable. Without accountability, I don't believe success is possible. It's as simple as, are you going to do what you say you're going to do? And are you hardworking? If those are things, check out efficiencytrader.com and get in on our members only page. If not, we've got plenty of information out here to get you just started, get your education world started. But that's kind of what we do here at Efficiency Trader. I want to give you guys content. We're going to be posting a weekly podcast. We're going to have some videos and some follow-up. We want to keep this fun and interactive for you. But now I'm going to talk about why we do what we do. So for me, I've got a passion for growth and empowering others to grow. It's one of those things going back to being competitive in my nature. I need to basically set my goals high and then find a way to achieve those. I have to grow into those goals. If those goals aren't scaring me, my life's not fulfilled. But it's when I'm scared and nervous and then overcome an obstacle, that's when life's fulfilling for me. I love doing that personally, and I love seeing others around me getting empowered and having that support and motivation and hitting their goals. So for me, it's all about efficiency. Efficiency is just being simple and effective. So a couple other things that I do is, I'm a certified life coach. I've got a sports psychology background. I'm a baseball coach. I coach businesses and individuals to their success. So the whole vision of Efficiency Trader, we want to simplify this process and make it as easy as possible for you to hit your goals in the trading world. I also have another branch of this company. It's efficiencybook.com. My vision for this is to connect others to other people that are like-minded, other efficiency experts out there. So you might be an expert in your career field, or you might know somebody that's, just one of those standout people. Whether we interview them here on the podcast, it doesn't matter what industry, what they do, I like building a referral network and helping others, because it says a lot if you have a personal relationship for somebody and you're going to stick your neck out for them. If I'm sticking my neck out for people that constantly disappoint me or disappoint whatever I'm recommending them for, I'm not going to keep recommending them. And those are the type of people I'm looking to connect with. So if you or somebody that's just an expert in their field, email me at coach@efficiencybook.com. Another reason we started this is I think the education system failed us. We talked about this earlier. How many people learned the stock market in high school? How many people learned how to invest in their future? There might be some basic level balancing a checkbook and how to open a bank account. Those are the personal finance classes I took in high school, but nobody ever told me how to get rich. Nobody ever told me why I should retire at 65. Why is it standard for everybody to retire at a certain age? You know, what if I don't want to retire at that age? I think the education system has held us back and failed us because everybody's goals are different. How can we do a one-size-fits-all education when it comes to finance? So that's a big reason I got started. For me, I've mentioned this before, you know, finances is a big topic for a lot of people. You know, for me, coaching doesn't pay the bills. When I'm out there coaching high school baseball, you know, I'm basically losing money every time I drive to a game or drive to a practice. I do it because I want to help others grow. One of those, you know, factors is, well, guess what? People have monthly reoccurring expenses. You know, they have to have some sort of income to pay for food, shelter, all of that. I'm still one of those people, but my goal is to be financially independent, where I can make money in my sleep, where all of my bills are paid every single month, whether I step outside the door and do anything, you know, air quotes, as a work or not. I want to be financially independent. I want to help inspire others to take that step and become financially independent themselves. You know, another reason I got into this is, you know, I think, again, we can learn a lot of things from other people, but also when we're in the teaching mode, it makes us learn more about ourselves. So I know teaching this course, teaching this podcast, and educating others, it's going to make me a better trader, and it's going to help me hit my goals faster than if I just sit back and keep this knowledge that I have all to myself. And lastly, the biggest reason I got started is, you know, I want to grow. I think the best way to grow is going back to the anti-fragile mindset. It's eliminating weaknesses. If I'm a plant, I want to trim off the dead leaves so that the growing leaves can grow even faster and bigger. So I'm going to give you guys just a quick recap. You know, we talked about who I am, what we do here at the Trader Games and EfficiencyTrader.com, you know, the different free education programs, our coaching, and our premium members only section, you know, why I do what I do, and how I want to see you succeed through all of this. I want to give you guys a free bonus here. This is the part where if you guys are listening on your podcast, hey, we're going to have some special content on YouTube. We're also going to post this podcast with the video. You know, I want to be able to show you my screen and exactly what we're talking about here. But we're going to post that to EfficiencyTrader.com. If you guys go to EfficiencyTrader.com, just find our podcast section and jump to this episode being the first episode. I've got a little Easter egg for you. I've got a free gift at the bottom of that page, of that post of our podcast on EfficiencyTrader.com. So if you go there, I've got a free gift for you. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to just check out the stock market. I want to give you guys a real-time look at kind of some things to look for if you guys are, you know, wanting to get into this, or maybe you are into this. You know, I'm going to kind of quickly talk about some things that are very important, but then also some things that, you know, hey, let's work to a place where we can understand this. So you're going to see my chart here in a minute. It's going to have a lot of information, but really what I want to do is just get some engagement going. So for anybody that watches this video or listens to this podcast, you know, I want to actually reward you for being interactive. So, excuse me, if you guys have Venmo, Facebook Pay, PayPal, I want to give anybody that watches this video $1 if they interact. So what I mean by that is we're going to take a look at Grand Canyon University, their stock. It's the ticker symbol LOPE, L-O-P-E. So anybody that can comment with the correct price where you think that LOPE will close at the end of the day, Monday, April 15th, 2019, if you're able to tell me what you think LOPE will close at by the end of the day, what their price finishes is at, I'm going to give you $1. I'm going to give you free money just for putting in a comment. So even if it's just a guess, hey, if you're guessing and you're within $1 of the closing price, I'm going to give you $1. So you got nothing to lose here, and, you know, some French fries from McDonald's to gain. So the caveat to this is you have to post your guess in the comment section on the YouTube link here or on EfficiencyTrader.com. I'll even take it on the podcast. If you guys comment on the podcast, if your podcast platform lets you, what you think LOPE or Grand Canyon University education is going to finish the day out on Monday, if you're within $1 of that price, I'm going to give you guys $1. So I'll reach out to you, message you, get you guys some Venmo information or Facebook, and get you guys some money for participating if you guess this right. So let's just pull up Lope really quick here, show you guys kind of what's going on with it. I'm not here to give you guys picks yet. If you want picks, jump in on our premium service, but today I just want to give you guys some quick education. So we're here. I like to use TradingView.com. TradingView.com is a great charting platform, so if you want to get into trading, I suggest getting in with a blank slate. So what I mean by blank slate is coming in with nothing on your screen. You're going to see a bunch of different lines, bunch of different graphs, and be super confused. Make this as simple as possible when you're first starting out. Come in with a blank chart. We'll talk about the basics, building up from, what chart should I be looking at? Should it be a line chart? Should it be a bar chart? Should it be, candlesticks? We can talk about that, what's best for you. But just for today, I want to give you guys just some quick pointers as I'm looking at Lope here. And then, again, as you guys are looking at this, just make some guesses, maybe even share. If you guys make a video and tell us why you think the price is going to go to a certain level by next Monday, I think that's awesome. Those are the things that is going to keep this group and this podcast going, is group interaction. So, excuse me again. So, one of the things that I'm looking at here with Lope, I've got several different lines on here. I'm not going to tell you what all these different things are. Obviously when it comes to the stock market, you can guess or you can have a plan. I like the second one. I like to have a plan going into this thing. So going out there, just making some educated guesses, or maybe just going out there and guessing for fun. I just want you guys looking at charts and having some fun doing this. But one of the things I want to kind of just point out here is just where Lope's at. So if you guys are on TradingView.com, type in, your ticker symbol. I'm on the 4-hour chart. And we can go in depth on this. If this is review for some of you guys, cool, you're experts. But for a lot of people just starting out, this is something that, might be confusing. So on TradingView, you can actually select the different time frames of a chart. So a 4-hour, that means each of these bars on my chart, any of these green or red bars, they're worth 4 hours of time. So you can see at the bottom here, where we're at time-wise. This is really important. Again, looking for patterns in trades, looking for history, looking for fundamental analysis, and even technical analysis. You're going to really want to pay attention to what price does over time. So this is one of the things. We're here right now. Grand Canyon's at $118.37 per share. So I want you guys to tell me what you think this is going to be, a couple trading days from now. It's Tuesday right now. Next Monday, where is this price going to be at? So I've got a couple different things. I can never say for sure, oh yeah, it's going to be right here. But that's the whole thing about trading, is you're making an educated guess, you're a scientist, you're doing research on all of this, and that's why we track our trades. If we can track our trade, we're going to know, hey, I was right this time, or I was wrong this time, and kind of just why that happened. Sometimes we'll know that, sometimes we won't, but with this education that I'm going to give you guys throughout this podcast and throughout the video series, is really just going to show you guys how to make money over time doing this, eliminating those weaknesses, learning from my mistakes, and not making those yourself. So looking here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So we're still on the 4-hour chart. So a couple of things I've noticed here. Earnings, this is what this little E stands for when we're on TradingView. So earnings, that's usually a catalyst for most stocks. You can kind of see major jumps happen up or down when we're talking about earnings. So if I'm trading this, I'm not going to tell you guys what position or if I'm going to take a position. If you're a premium member, I do live trades. I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do for this trade setup and why I'm going to do it. But here on the earnings, back February 19th of this year, price jumped from $96 all the way up to about $120, it looks like. So, that's a pretty significant price jump all within a day. So if you bought this stock at $96 and kind of came up here, just in a day, that's a $20 gain. If you bought this stock at the beginning of the day and sold it at the end of the day. So if you would have done that back in February, $20 per share. So say you bought more than one share, say you bought 100 shares, do the math there, 100 times 20. That's some decent money in a day. So getting you guys to the point where we can kind of see what's coming, if it's earnings, if it's different indicators, if the stocks move up or down, people can make money on stocks anytime it moves. People can also make money on stocks anytime it doesn't move. That's different option strategies. So if this is all a foreign language to you, great. I want your mind working. I want you to be a little bit confused if you're not familiar with this stuff, because that shows that, you've got room for growth. If everything I'm saying is something you've heard before, you're like, dude, I got this. I know exactly where it's going. Cool. Tell me what the price is going to be on Monday. So right here, just a couple things to look at, guys. I want to get your input on this, but again, I'm not going to tell you where I think it's going unless you're a premium member. But as far as this, just want you guys getting used to charts. I want to make sure that you guys have the support. I've got some of these lines in here, the different indicators saying different things to me. We're going to cover those in later videos, later podcasts. So what I want you guys to do is tell me where you think Grand Canyon University is going to finish on Monday. So jumping up forward to Monday, where do you think this guy's going? And if you guys tell me why or make a video why, I think that's bonus points. So I want to give you guys a shout out on the next podcast. So this is Wade, the Efficiency Trader, the Trader Games Facebook, efficiencytrader.com. Thanks for joining us today.